Good morning, Internet. My name is Bill. This is the channel SixRounds Studio, and today's video is either going to be a complete disaster or going to be a way forward for future videos. Let's check it out. So today we have visitors in the studio, and I am going to run a kind of live video process. A friend of mine who I've worked with at Ruger for 30 years is looking to do more kind of gunsmithing stuff in his future. In fact, he helps me do a lot of my gunsmithing when I do gunsmithing. He's really good at this. He's really experienced. And Mike asked me if I would teach him how to rust blue. I have a project that needs to be rust blued, and it's that Stephen's Favorite model 1915. I've got that all prepped. Mike is coming over this morning, and I'm going to teach him my methods for rust bluing firearms. And in the meantime, we've got other friends and associates that were interested in kind of watching the whole process of making a video, so they're here as well. Again, I'm going to let this kind of run live. I'm going to have to do some edits because otherwise this thing's going to be 2 hours long and nobody's going to want to sit through a 2-hour video of me teaching somebody how to rust blue. So, as I said, this will either be a complete disaster or it'll be an interesting way for me to do future videos on the channel. Now let's talk about the Stephen's Favorite and what the client wanted. The client did not want this thing to be made to look new again. What they were asking me to do is see if I can't sort of make it look at the end like a well-maintained old rifle. If you remember from the beginning, I was saying that he got this from his dad. His dad had stored it in pretty poor conditions in a unheated garage, going through all these different heat cycles, and we got some pitting and it got some rust on it. So what he didn't want is he didn't want me to make it look new again, as I said. So when I polished it, I made sure I took out the worst of it. But what we want to end up with is a firearm or a rifle that some of the pitting is still there, some of the dark staining is there, but it's been upgraded and made to look again like it was a well-maintained old rifle. So let's get started. Let's start teaching Mike how to blue firearms. All right, guys, we're getting ready to start on this. But before we do, we have coffee in Danish. This was something that my wife promised to do, that if we started having these monthly or every other month, these meetups here at the shop. This was my wife's idea. So we're going to have coffee and we're going to have Danish. Lynn prepped that this morning. So before we get started on the bluing process, let's go over and take a look at the goodies that my wife made. We have the coffee cake. We have the coffee, and I want to talk a little bit about the coffee. This is brewed by a good friend of ours they live just outside of San Antonio, Texas. Stephen and Claudia Houtz. They run this boutique coffee roasting company, and I want to give a shout out to both Stephen and Claudia because they do support the channel. They don't support it directly through advertisements, but I want to give a shout out because both of them do support me on Patreon. So I think it's just a fair exchange. Love Stephen, love Claudia, and I want to give a shout out to them for their coffee company. I will put a link to their website in the description here. Stephen also has his own YouTube channel, so I'll put a link to that as well. Stephen does classic cars, and he is a pretty amazing mechanic, so I'll put a link to his YouTube channel as well. All right, so while we're waiting for the water to boil, I want to introduce you to the guys that are here in the shop. Two of them you've met before. You've met Mike. Mike is this guy here. And you've met Rick. Rick helped me on the 1905 Ithaca shotgun, welding up or soldering up that latch. So you've seen Rick. Mike, you saw in a sit-down video that we did at Rhodey's Gun Shop, my family's retail store. And this guy here is Earl. Earl is one of my fans on the channel. But Earl has a special relationship to the family and to Rhodey's Gun Shop. Earl was good friends with my dad and my uncle. But after my dad and my uncle passed away, and after I took over the retail store, Earl kept coming, and Earl and I became good friends. And Earl would help me behind the counter whenever I got stuck, whenever there was more people that I could handle. So Earl's knowledgeable. He is a gun guy. So Earl would jump in and help anytime I got stuck with too many customers in the store. All right, so let's start teaching Mike how to blue or rust blue of Stephen's favorite model 1915. So there are several things that we need in order to do rust bluing, and the first is we need boiling water. So let's talk about that just for a minute. This is a stainless steel pan that I bought on Amazon inexpensively because this was a stainless steel planter. And you don't have to go spend huge amounts of money in order to get started doing this rust bluing. If you're only going to do a year, a couple a year, 3 a year, don't go out and spend huge amounts of money on this. The other is I have these hot plates. The hot plates, in about 15 or 20 minutes, they'll have that water boiling. So the hot plates are another inexpensive way to do this, as opposed to a lot of these rust bluing setups. They use like a gas system. So Mike and I have known each other for decades, and we worked together at Ruger Firearms. Mike still works at Ruger Firearms. And back when we were doing the side-by-side shotgun, we actually used this Mark Lee system for bluing the barrels on the side-by-side. And of course, Ruger's got deep pockets. Ruger has money to burn. So they literally would burn propane or gas with these gas propane heaters where the flames would be up underneath. You can do that, you can spend that money, but for doing 1 or 2 or 3 guns a year, this is a system. This is what I use. I've been using it for years, and my results are really pretty good. All right, let's go over and look at the other components that we need. In order to rust blue, the first thing we need to do is we need to heat up the parts. We're going to use a propane torch. There are several ways you can do that. You can use an air gun. I know you've got a tremendous air gun. We actually did some soldering with that air gun. So you can use the heat gun if you want. I've always used the propane torch. It works just fine. We need to have a receptacle for the chemical because you're only going to use a small amount of this. You don't need to use the entire bottle. This should last you for several guns. Cotton balls. There's a lot of ways to apply it. I apply it with cotton balls because it actually begins to absorb the chemical, and it's like a sponge, so you don't have to keep adding more to it. You're going to need the gloves. The gloves are not for your protection because this is a pretty inert chemical, but you need it to keep your oils off the metal, because as soon as you get fingerprints, you're going to get
now, before the heat in the application, is there a cleaning process
for
oil?
Yeah, and I'll explain that next, because we also have acetone. All right, and the acetone is the final cleaning. Now, before you guys got here, I actually cleaned this with Dawn dish detergent and hot water because I needed to do a pre-clean with it to get any of the oils from when I was polishing it off. I also got inside in the different recesses and cleaned the oils out of that. Once you've gotten that done, I put it in my wife's oven. Ask me what she thinks of that, okay?
They love it.
So by heating it up, what it does is it helps evaporate all the waters that are in the recesses. We need to do a final cleaning, and that final cleaning happens after you put the gloves on. And then we're going to use the acetone. Acetone, you could use denatured alcohol. The nice thing about acetone is it does tend to displace more oils, and it also flashes off very, very quickly. So there's the advantage to that. We have 2 hooks, because you're going to need these 2 hooks in order to get the components in and out of the hot water. And once you've heated this up to put the chemical on, because that's the next thing we are going to do, once you've heated it up, you're not going to be able to touch this with your hands. All right, so we're going to need these hooks, and again, I designed and built these very specifically so that we can do this. Same with the receivers. You can do the receivers any way that you're comfortable with, just as long as you get it into the boiling water. I was asked this question in one of my prior videos. A commenter asked if why am I just putting it on the bottom of the tank and not trying to suspend it? And I was explaining that the chemical conversion, or the rust conversion, happens here. It happens with the chemical that you apply. All the boiling water does is set the chemical. All right. So once it's in there, I do use the stainless because I don't want to get any contamination from an iron pan or something like that. But once it's in the water, it's just setting it. I've never had any marks or anything showing from the bottom of the pan, so I've never worried about that. All right. I think. Go ahead.
For average use of what you're doing on your tank that you have, what is the length of that tank?
That's a 30-inch tank, Mike, I think. This is a metric. So that is 32 inches. So that's a 32-inch. So whatever's 32 inches. I don't think most barrels are more than.
So most barrels.
So yeah, whatever length you need. Again, like I said, when I started this, I went looking for something inexpensive.
But for an average, most barrels, they're 30 inches,
Yeah.
most really,
Yeah,
unless
yeah.
you get into some real large.
And this is a
shotguns.
standard rifle barrel, so I think that's about 30 inches. All right. The other thing that I've done is because you have to roll this, so I have this to support this, so that as you're heating this, you're going to roll it, heat it, roll this, heating it, and then you'll start putting the chemical on. All right, same thing. Then you're going to start rolling it as you apply the chemical. All right, so that's that. Once we've got this in the water, then we're going to take this. All right, this then becomes its own problem because we have to come up with a way to hang this so that we can apply the chemical and the heat to this as well. So this is any port in a storm kind of thing.
Yep.
You know, whatever you can get to get the chemical on. Again, you'll have your gloves on so you can hold this as you're applying the chemical. All set to go?
Yep.
All right.
Let me ask you a question.
Yep.
Did you bore that barrel out for a liner?
No.
Looks awful big from that
No,
right here.
it's a 32. It's
Yeah,
a 32.
that's right. Okay.
It's barely got rifling in it.
Yeah.
You know, what am I ever going to find 32 caliber ammo for this thing?
Yeah, you can, but they're like $1,000 a box.
So what this is a video.
Yeah.
This is what this is. This is me showing you how to do this. This is a video.
'Cause that gun came with a 22 barrel.
No, this is the barrel that came with it.
Like
Don't confuse the.
Oh, that's the other one.
Don't
Okay.
confuse the other one. That one's all shot out too.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Put on the gloves, Mike. And this is boiling, so we're ready to go here. Give him a good blow.
Now, what would happen if you hadn't cleaned that barrel and you just wiped all the oil and everything off and you tried doing this process?
What do you mean just wait?
You'd have stains.
It wouldn't work.
It wouldn't stick?
Didn't degrease it and stuff.
Yeah, you'd have stains.
Yeah.
You'd have blotchy stains.
Discoloration, stains.
Oh, just by washing it with acetone, it wouldn't take all that?
Well, remember what I said. I washed it with this dish detergent first.
Yeah.
Okay. So we do 2 cleanings. All right.
Because every time I try to use the blue one on something, it doesn't work.
Now, because people at work will tell me that cold bluing on a gun won't work. I take it, I wash it real good, I dry it, I wash it again, I let it dry, and I go in and I do a thin coat instead of putting half a bottle on it.
Yeah,
A thin
works
coat.
fine.
You wait just as it starts to dry, then a thin coat. As that starts to dry, I oil the crap out of it.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of cold blue.
But we're just doing a little
Or
area.
I do all my
Repair.
screws.
Yeah.
Not all my screws.
Yeah, stuff
But
like that.
I'll
Like
do a screw.
This morning I had to
absolutely.
weld up and remachine a sear.
Yeah.
Ejector sear. And when I get done, I cold blue.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so we're going to add just a little bit of chemical. I'm going to have to order another bottle here. We're going to add a little bit of chemical. About that much.
I can see you use the cotton ball with the acetone also.
Oh shoot, we did. I forgot that. Thanks, Michael. Oh, you still need the gloves though. But I don't know what that's gonna do to your gloves, but.
They hold up because I use that in alcohol. when
Okay,
I
so,
do,
so you're gonna hold that, I'll put some acetone on this for you.
Yeah.
So just grab one of the guns, grab one of the parts.
Yeah, I was just trying not to grab the part.
Well, you have to.
Oh, I could have stuck something on inside.
You could have done that too.
And I could have used screwdrivers that had wooden handles. Then I would have looked like a professional. They'll hate my Brownell set someday.
Oh, that was the funniest comment. This guy's not a real gunsmith because he doesn't use wooden handle screwdrivers. It's like,
Modern gunsmiths don't use wood handles.
My wife handed me my set of the wooden ones.
Yeah.
She goes, look, you can be a real gunsmith now. I just shook my head laughing at it.
oh yeah. And you can actually see that we're still getting some dirt on,
Oh, yeah.
on the rag. Okay, and let's add just a little bit more on the other side. Okay.
Very similar to a Cerakoting and powder coating process. And a lot of times people aren't happy with their results when they do it at home because they don't do the 2 stages of cleaning.
Cleaning, yeah.
And one of the big parts of that is the, if you want to call it leaching, when you put it in an oven and use, as you stated, to get rid of the water, but it also causes any excess oils to seep out.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you may have to do 2 or 3 cleanings depending on the level of oil inside the material.
All right, so let's do the barrel first because that's sort of the easiest to teach. Where did I do the cotton ball? No,
You didn't take it out.
I didn't take it
because we
out?
had to wash. You want it on the pin?
put it on the pin. So Ricky brought a temperature gauge and he
Yep.
wants to.
I'm just gonna
give a
randomly
sense.
shoot just to see how things are going for my own personal.
Now, remember, we use the heat lamps
Yeah. Yeah. The
versus this. Which one?
and
No,
those are
this
actually,
this is cheap. Heat
Yeah.
lamp can be
those
expen-
heat lamps were for keeping hot food hot.
They were French fry ones.
They're
I used
French
to
fry
pick up
warmers
heat
is
all
what
the
they
time.
were.
So the instructions say it's got to get up to about 180 to 200 degrees.
Okay. So
I tried using a laser
Yeah.
Yeah.
temperature gauge once, and I couldn't use it because it wasn't giving me anything that I could really use.
Yeah.
So I ended up just doing it by feel. And one of the things that I found that, again, this is just my experience. And all of you commenters, this is just my experience from years of doing this. I found that if I get a little bit of sizzle, okay, or a little bit of steam, that's the right temperature. Okay. And if I try to do it without that sizzle, it doesn't take. All right. So we're going to do the first coat. The first coat doesn't ever do much of anything. So we're going to start there. And this here is, you're going to need to get it off, you're going to need to use this, and then you can use the 2 hooks to get it into the thing, because you're not going to be able to touch this. All right. So basically, let me just kind of show you initially how we do this. What's that? Oh, if you want to do that, that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to just come along. See the steam coming off? And we're going to go roughly 90 degrees. And we're just going to keep doing this. So we're just going to keep doing this. Okay, so I'll let you do this. It's a little bit better, Mike, come low. That way the heat rises. Not that way.
you really see it up on the bigger end of it.
Oh, it's hot, trust me. But again, one of the things that'll happen,
Hot enough so you don't see the separation.
yeah, so I would just try the chemical at this point, and you don't have to shut it off. Just put it somewhere where it don't burn my house down.
Yeah, I like to drop on fire.
Take some of that. Okay, you see it steaming? It's steaming, that means you've got it hot enough. Beautiful. Try to do the full length if you can. Yep. Roll it over.
As you apply this, if you put it a little bit too excessive and you have a small run, does it affect the final finish?
No. So what you're going to do now is we're going to put 3 coats on before we boil.
Yep.
We're going to let it sit for about 30 seconds. Okay? And you guys, you see that it's already turned rusty. If you want to come over a little, you can.
It's lost that shine.
Yeah. Well, you can actually see the rust. See the rust?
It's like a board.
Just like a boil.
Not rusty enough, bro.
It'll get there.
Alright, so now we've got 30 seconds. We're going to do the whole thing all over again. So by realizing that at this point, we've already got the heat there.
Yep, so now it doesn't take...
So it doesn't take quite as long to heat the metal up. So couple runs.
No. Does the ambient humidity
Come back just a,
affect on
come
that?
back just a little bit.
The ambient humidity have any effect on it?
No, because you're boiling it all off. You're heating it all off. That's about the right speed, too. Get too close. Yep. And when you think you've done all the way around, just stop. Set the torch down. Don't burn the house down. And I would just use what's in the rag. Steam, but there's enough chemical in there.
That's a good indicator.
Yeah, that again, this is just stuff I've learned doing this over and over and over again.
See how fast the liquid flashes up.
Yeah. Alright, same thing, let it set for 30 seconds. Okay, so we're down 30 seconds, we're gonna do it one more time. About 2 inches away.
I don't have any depth perception. Said I couldn't burn the house down, I didn't say nothing about the fires.
So, when you're done, you can shut the torch off. Okay, so you're going to put your last coat of chem on.
And it doesn't matter that it's stained.
No.
Yeah, flash off the
Yeah,
best.
so you got a nice steam going there. So that's, again, that's been my experience that when we're getting that steam, sometimes you'll hear it sizzle. That may be just a little bit too hot when it sizzles. Yep, I like it. That's actually, so there's a good indication that the polish job and the cleaning came out good, because we got a nice even coat. Sometimes you'll get blotchiness right off the bat. All right, so just set the cotton ball down, give it a chance to flash off.
Again, another 30.
Yep.
Now, if you do see the blotchiness at this point,
I don't care.
is it a stop and refinish, or
No,
you keep
I don't
going?
care. No, at this point, you'll see. So once this goes in the tank to boil, we're gonna start right on this. So we'll pull this out and then put that in, so that we got this cycle going.
And what is your length of time for boil?
5 minutes is what they suggest. If it's 10 minutes, the part doesn't care.
And then after boil, it's carding?
Carding. Yeah, we're gonna card between every. I don't have a carding wheel.
Yep.
It's not. I don't do enough to warrant that setup. Okay, so let's get it off.
They used to put a nice piece of tape on here.
Yeah, we can fix
I
that.
don't know what happened to it. You're not gonna laugh at me?
You may want to get underneath, unless you get the strength to hold it. Yep.
And then just set it on here.
Yep. So that's the hook, and that's for you, so you don't drop it.
Good to go?
Yep. You're gonna lay it right in the water, Mike. And it should bubble.
Oh, yes.
Okay. So the time is 20 after, and 5 minutes. It's really going to end up being more than 5 minutes. All right. So same thing. We just need to this because of the bulk.
Yep.
This is going to be a little bit different. So I would do the same thing. You've got your gloves on. Just put it in the rod somehow. And we're going to do the same thing all over again. 3 coats. So we need to heat it up. And just repeat.
Just trying to think.
Rinse and repeat, bud.
I'm trying to think of the best way to rotate
Yep.
this without sizzling my gloves.
You're going to end up in a place where you're going to end up doing something like this, and then you're going to roll it over. You know what? Tell you what. Let's pull that off. Like I said, there's no huge rule to how long it rolls.
I have to get in one of those things for the grill for the rotisserie. Yeah. I'm making chickens.
Now you gotta get a new.
I was hoping.
You rub them in Vaseline and they make real good fire extenders.
Okay, don't go too far because you're gonna melt the tape. How do I know? Because I used that tape for the last one that I did.
You know that?
As long as you use the real cotton.
All right, same thing, Michael. You just gotta heat it all the way around. This is a little bit bigger chunk of metal, so it is gonna take just a little bit longer to heat it up. Ricky, what'd you give for temp?
Actually, I wasn't getting a very good temp reading on that.
I put it all the way down.
That really shows.
Yep.
I could just see us having to call the fire department. Then say that's it, and that's
See how it functions off the moisture and the oil. Go on over. Just come on in and sit. He's on there.
That's what I'm afraid of.
They're grabbing that in my hand.
Yeah, I don't think it's too much. Too much.
Well, yeah, that is a pretty massive piece.
That's why I was telling you, Mike, sometimes if you come on a slight up angle, yeah, it helps the heat transfer up. Not even on a radio though. Let Ricky touch it over. That's what I was telling you. I've tried to do it before, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's weird.
This thing's pretty accurate
Yeah.
normally. I think there's too much cooler ambient air and stuff around it.
You can see he's already got it hot enough.
Even Earl's kind of cold over there.
Just let it set for 30 seconds. Heat it up again. Yeah, that's a little too hot, Mike. Little too hot, Mike.
Blow before you get the fingertips on it. You know it's too hot.
Hear it sizzle? That's a little too hot. So you can see the blotchiness here. So we'll have to deal with that as we go through. Okay, let it flash. This time don't hold it quite as long. We've already got it up to temperature, so it doesn't take anywhere near as much. Third coat, we'll shut off the torch. Yeah, still a little too hot.
That was quick.
Yeah. So that's going to happen when we pull it out of the water. The part is heat soaked. So even though the outside has cooled, the inside of the metal hasn't.
Still hot.
So it doesn't take anywhere near as much heat to do this brewing process. All right, so let's leave that one there.
So those little spots that I'm getting.
Well, don't worry about it. Trust me, we're going to do this 3 times.
Yeah. What does it do in this?
Well, it really
Nothing.
took something
You'll see
dense in
blotches.
this piece of metal.
So you're literally going to take that
That's
out
a-
and you're going to hold it so the water drains out of the barrel.
Not chips and
And
stuff.
then you're going to just set it down here.
Yeah, when I see him take a little piece of wood and stick the start,
Yeah, you can
I was
watch it
thinking
flash
about
out
it's
like
gonna
it's
just
instant.
disintegrate.
Yeah. And then you're going to just set it down. Then we're going to transfer the
No, I don't think
receiver
I
in.
could ever run something like this.
You can see
This is like
it's already
a
turned
hand
black.
tool. It's a machinist. This is not
So
even.
that's just one coat.
No?
And we got 2 more of these to do.
Well, I made a
Yeah.
hammer, had a
On the other
taper
coats,
handle.
is it just one coat of the chemical or 3 each time?
Yeah, but we're not going to heat it quite as much this time.
Year to that
So just
wall.
pick any place
Came out
that
about
you
here
can.
and was almost $500,000.
And you may be able to use your hand if it's not too hot, but that's up to you, bud.
That was
And you can see you're melting the tape.
Yeah.
So we may have to pull the tape off next time we do this.
So did you used to make drill bits and
It's not gonna
Cut
have
it
anything on there,
No,
right?
you're fine.
occasionally.
That's why I put this
You always
down.
want
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure it get the right end in there so I
all the
don't
time.
cause a
Probably
problem
just
in
use
the
one
water.
hook too, so.
yeah, because
You're a responsible department head guy. You always have an inventory of what you're gonna need. When you get a project done like this, and then several of each.
All right, so now, this is where this gets a little tough, because we actually have to blow this off. We have to blow
I
it
wish
off
they'd have
for a
tools.
couple reasons. One is,
Yeah, it's hard.
It's
I
hot.
Yeah.
and the other is we want to just get any of the water out of it that we can. So, I don't know
That may be a group I was
how
around
we're
with,
gonna
so.
do this, but we gotta get it up. Tell you what, I'll
I've
hold
been
it
on
up.
about 7 or 10
Normally I can.
tours on
Right,
Battleship,
one person.
Massachusetts, and that's
There's
impressive.
nothing to grasp.
Especially when you
grasp
listen
on
to
this.
Then you
So
follow that.
just take the
instead
air
of
gun.
just throwing them around.
and just blow out through the hole.
See how black it is?
Yep, that's enough, and then just cool it off. And you need to ask yourself, can you hold it? Because you're gonna have to card it. Can you hold
Use a
it?
steel wool to card the rust off.
Oh,
'Cause you want to hear
Okay,
it.
so at this point, you're gonna come right over here, and you're gonna stand it up.
Yeah, this is it.
There's
Iron 2 outside is you got rust.
That's a 4/0 steel wool.
wool.
4/0.
Had all the oils removed.
Yeah, I did all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want me to break a piece off? Or
No,
use it
that
like
is it. So you're
Okay.
just
Now,
gonna
how light?
just start carding. Don't worry about it. You need to get off all that rust. And, you know, you're not trying to. You're just trying to get it smooth, Mike. You're not trying to make
It's
it.
nice, nice and smooth.
Yeah.
And now, when you're carding, does direction matter if I swirl back
No,
and forth or
no,
straight
that's
up
why
and
we're
down?
using 4/0.
Yeah.
Okay. You can actually put it on an angle if that would make it easier for you, Mike.
What I wanted to do is make sure that I got into this
Yep.
groove.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Don't need to add much heat to it, Bill.
Don't have to add what?
Not much heat is going to be needed.
No, that's what I'm telling you.
Okay.
The metal is heat soaked. When you're done,
Yeah.
just lay it down. Again, you got the metal shavings over here.
Yeah.
All right.
So do you do a cleaning? Wipe
No,
it down?
no, no. We're good. We're good to go. Now, if you look at it, you'll notice some blotchiness.
Yep.
So you'll notice that there's some discoloration. There's a lightness here. There's these dark bands.
Yeah.
And that's why we do this 3 times. You come out to the very end, and there's a darkness here. This is actually still more silver than it is blue. Okay, which is typical of that first coat. All right.
oh, you do this 3 times?
Mhm.
Oh,
And you want to point that
Coat
slightly
after
up.
coat after coat.
well, I thought that's what they were doing. You do 3 coats on each.
No, you have to do it.
Okay. So you can put that back.
Back
We're not.
it turns black, then you crack the rust off.
Yep.
And at really high
If
end.
it wants to
sometimes
drop.
they'll do this process 10 times.
No, we're not in the place yet.
A lot of time.
Good. All right, we're gonna leave that there. We're gonna do this
That's hot caustic.
because I'm gonna stop filming until the very end. There's no reason for me to film. So like I said, rinse and repeat. You haven't been finding this yet, so I don't have to.
So you don't have to heat again?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Well, we're gonna-
When
we're
I
gonna
asked
re-
on that, I thought you said no.
No, we're gonna repeat the whole process. Yes, you have to heat it, but you're not gonna have to put as much
Not
heat.
as much, because
Because
it's
it's
still
already,
pretty warm.
it's already heat soaked, okay? So instead of, you're just gonna literally.
Just zip up and down it fairly
Yes.
quick, see
Yeah.
the heat shield and move.
And it really is, it tells you that, like balancing. The
Yeah,
water
see, I
comes
like-
out of the ground.
I bought the carding wheel and
And
stuff, and I was gonna do
then
a setup, I like
it
this
goes
better.
Up through.
Once again, your question about,
Flower.
I'm only doing
Through
one,
the stem.
Right.
I'd rather do
And
this
then
because I don't have
leaves.
6 or 8 of them lined up.
Well, you asked me
Pick
that
up
question the
sunlight.
other day. You said if I was to do repairs for
It
Ruger,
goes down.
and I had to do 5
Down
demos,
out through the roof.
I told you that's when a
Sure,
production
that-
setup
yes,
really matters.
Yes,
Right.
If you're gonna do one,
Yeah.
um,
yeah, because I'm doing
I
an
was
old
shocked at all the stuff that goes on.
400 prefix blue receiver barrel right now, getting it redone. And I thought about doing this.
So Mike has been asked by Ruger Firearms to repair all of the side-by-side and over and under shotguns. Okay, so Mike used to actually run the shotgun line years and years ago, and right now Mike is working in engineering and machining. He's a machinist as well. And Ruger has asked Mike if he would start doing the repairs and what the hell we call that, customer service work. So Mike has been asking me some questions about how does he handle some of these reblues if he has to. So some of the reason that Mike is here so that I can go through this with Mike. So when he does do these repairs for Ruger, he's sort of He's been through it. He understands the process. Okay, so at this point we can pull that. Just hook a hole. And when you put it in next time, you do the same thing. I'm probably gonna have to add some water while we're doing this, Mike. So let it blow it off. And like I said to you earlier, Mike, you're blowing it off as much to cool it down
cool it.
so you can hold on to the damn thing.
As you notice, I was keeping my fingers near the air.
All right, carding it is the same thing, Mike. Again, I try to do all the carding over
Yep.
here so I don't get the cross-contamination.
In a minute, I mean, you can feel it instantly go from a kind of a rough,
Yes.
to very smooth.
Right.
So I take it that to be an indication that I've removed the rust.
Yep. I'm actually surprised at this. So this is the first time I've done one of these 1920s era steels. I'm surprised how it turns rusty and black as quick as it does, because usually when I do some more modern steels, it's almost always blotchy out of the box.
But we industrialized the whole process. It worked great. And of course, like Phil said, we had tools and money. We just found out we needed to get what we needed.
And you had the big baskets, the things to go in, so you do 10 of them at a time instead of one.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we're going to look for on this one, see the blotchiness?
Yeah.
That's on purpose. So the customer asked me not to over restore this. I mentioned this when in the intro of the video. He asked me not to over restore it. He wanted it to look like it was more of a well-maintained original firearm, and I'm trying to deliver that. So some of the things that I'm not caring about is if there's a few dings or dents or pits that I didn't take out, that's okay. And at the same time, we don't want to turn this so blue that we lose that sort of rustic feel to it. So you're going to see some blotchiness in here, and that's because I didn't take that out. I left some of the original finish in there. All right. So at this point, we're ready to do this a second time. Before you start that, so we're going to do this 3 times. We have 2 more times to do. I'm not going to film the entire thing. I'll bring you back when we're down towards the very end of this and show you the last carding and show you what the results of this thing looks like. So rinse and repeat. We're going to do this 2 more times. All right, guys, we're down to the last coat. I think this is 3 coats is going to be enough. We'll find out as soon as this barrel comes out of the water and gets carded.
That might be why my blowing didn't work. Because all I did was and then put oil on it and I'm done.
Yeah, but you were doing rust bluing. You were doing chemical cold bluing.
Yeah.
But even then, if you go through this process with, like Bill said earlier, the cold chemical bluing is, if you do the proper cleanup, you get a lot better results.
Yeah, makes a big, it's never as good,
So
but it makes a big
Yeah, I mean, I use a lot of cold blue, and like I was telling Mike earlier, you know, I use cold blue,
Yeah.
but I use it for screw heads.
Yeah.
If I'm going to blue a lot of screws, okay, so
Yeah.
so if I'm going to do a lot of screws or a lot of small parts, I'll use this basket,
Yeah.
stainless basket, and a stainless pot,
Yeah.
so that I can do a lot of screws at the same time, a lot of small parts.
Yeah, but you don't just glue it. You redo the slots as well.
Well, yeah, but that's before you
What?
get to the bluing.
You redo the slots.
Restore
in
the
it,
slots
too.
and polish them.
Oh yeah, I fix all the slots.
Yeah.
A lot easier than it sounds,
Yeah.
but you gotta be careful.
It's gotta be 5 minutes.
Oh, it's been more than 5 minutes.
Oh, another thing it was saying that if it wasn't for plants, there wouldn't be any human life on this planet.
You know, actually,
Yeah, carbon monoxide comes into the trees,
dioxide,
that's,
How
and
about
it
you?
stays in the trees.
The carbon
And it
stays
put-
and the oxygen comes back
and
up.
it- Yeah.
That
That's
looks
so
really
cool.
even. I think we're gonna be.
Whether you
here.
burn that
We'll
wood in
find
the-
out once you cart it.
Wood stove or a fireplace, you putting as much in the air,
Yeah.
just if it's rotten in the woods.
That's why this whole stuff is a bunch of scientists that never been outside in their life. Don't understand how the world works.
You know, and they keep cutting down the rainforest.
So
you
what
know,
you wanna
how
do
much
is
that
you wanna
put-
start using longer strokes on
These
this.
people that do this,
I mean, don't put the pressure on, that's not what I'm.
these lithium batteries,
I just,
getting that lithium.
it's
You see
light,
what
because
they
you
do
can
to the
feel it
ground,
the
just
minute
like
it's
the gold
smooth. I mean, that's already smooth.
Scissors.
It's worse because there's a lot of toxics up in there.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid, once it smooths, to go even further.
You notice what they don't say? You know, back in the 70s, it was all about saving, using less gas, using less electricity and all that, and being frugal. Now it's like all bets off. Use as much as you want because we get lithium batteries and stuff.
Where does electricity come to charge them batteries?
Well, they don't worry about it.
And it takes hours to charge it.
It's, as much as I like cars and stuff like that, it really bothers me that, you know, you could go today and go buy a car that's got 1,000 horsepower. It'll do 200 miles an hour, yet you're putting it on the public road.
That don't bother me, that's cool.
It's cool, I gotta admit.
Yeah.
But it's not very, you know, if we're supposed to
Alright,
be
so you can see that
environmentally
you still got
conscious,
some-
it's not
some
really
lines in here.
a big deal.
So just, there you go. Don't be afraid to do that.
See, I couldn't handle something
Yeah,
like that.
don't
I
be
know
afraid to
that.
do
The angle of the light, I can see it a lot. Boy, that looks nice. So that needs one more coat, and I think, again, we're trying to make this look like it's not over restored, so.
Right.
I think the owner's
You want it
too
to look
fuzzy.
like an old gun.
Right,
It was
look-
taken care of.
Yeah. Yeah, you've heard me talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to make it look new again, I'll do it.
But
You know, but it's not my preferred method.
it loses all its character as an old
Yeah,
gun.
you get a lot. There you go. That looks much better, Mike. Yeah.
See, I remember I got this dent in the stock when I was hunting with my grandson, and he tripped and fell with it, you know? And every time you look at it, that's what you remember.
See, the face is raw.
Yeah.
When they made it, they just turned it on a lathe. They faced it on a lathe, you know, which or a
Mill,
Or
they
mill.
usually mill it.
yeah. So it's got a little bit of purple to it, which is unusual for older steel, especially with rust bluing. You can see a little bit of a purple cast. That's really unusual for rust bluing.
Well, you know, each batch of steel is its own entity. Especially in the old days. This is really darkening up good.
I think that, well, like I said, I normally 3 coats is enough,
Yeah.
and I don't want it. So I don't want to get it too black.
Yep.
Because otherwise it looks too
It
new.
looks too new.
Now remember, he told you not to work for nothing, so what are you gonna charge him for doing that?
He's not, because he's paying me.
This is tuition.
Huh?
This is tuition.
Tuition, huh?
And he asked me if I would teach him, and I told him I would. Oops. Okay, don't be afraid to put a little pressure down on it this time. You can see how nice and black it is, and how the shine, the reflection is starting to come up really nice on this. We'll take a look at it in a minute and make sure that we've eliminated most of the blotchiness. That's looking really good, Mike. All right, so the last thing, well, actually there's 2 more things we need to do. We need to neutralize the steel, the chemical, and we're going to do that using distilled water and baking soda. And we're going to add just enough water to cover the part. Your biggest expense is going to be here, and those are only $1 a piece. So, so we'll add the baking soda.
Now, is there any measured amount?
Yeah.
Or just
Yeah, we just add it
until
up
it feels good.
till it feels good. Yeah. So we just want to kind of get this solution to be,
You know that, so it dissolves.
so it dissolves, you know. And then we'll just put the parts in. So let's put the barrel in and the receiver both. I need to add more water, I can. A little bit.
Well, that receiver will displace about that.
Well, that's true, Rick. Stay out over the receiver.
Oh yeah, receiver.
Alright. And we can add a little bit more. You know what that to be. I've never had one rust out on me, ever. Again, another comment that I had to a previous bluing video that I did. I've never had one rust out on me after I blued, ever. We're going to leave this in here for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back and we'll do some oiling on it. And I'll talk about the oiling here in a minute.
Now what's interesting is with the cold bluing where it's actually supposed to be washed in water before you oil it.
Yep.
And they never do that.
No.
You watch them put it on and then they
Dop it on, wipe it off.
they look at me. I walk in the bathroom under one of the sinks and I'm washing off the end of a ejector seat or the end of a monoblock where I had to file the lugs to match a new lock and bolt. And I'm in there washing. Were you doing that? It's going to rust. No, I'm preventing it from
You're
rusting.
preventing the rust.
Then you blow it off and oil it up.
Using buzzard oil or something? You got some special oil?
Me?
Yeah.
3 in 1. This is the best friggin' oil for,
It is good oil.
post bluing. The trouble is I can't get it anymore. At least I can't get it in these cute little
What's the
cans
stuff we
anymore.
use at work? They don't have it. They're out at Barnes. Barnes oil.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been a long time since I worked there, Mike.
Oh, the three of us have so much history. If we could only tell,
Yeah, we got
if we could only tell the things that we actually know.
Oh, between the three of us, we're well over 100 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's probably enough, Mike.
Boy, that color's awesome. That color's awesome.
I know. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You get the oil on that, it's going to look beautiful.
Mike will be down there, rust bluing his wrenches now.
Okay, so at this point, let's switch. Get this tank out of the way. That tank is actually heavy. All right, same thing. We want to get the air, parts blown off. Again, at this point, you're relying on the air, Mike.
Looking good. It's funny, you can, if you look at it, you can still see some of the remnants of the case hardening in the pattern. The pattern is still in the steel because it's different hardnesses.
So the next thing we want to do is get this thing oiled up, and it looks blotchy. That blotch goes away as soon as we oil it up. I do want to get the inside of this thing, the barrel, the rifling, what rifling is left in this thing. I do want to.
Yeah, get that oil.
I want to get that oiled up.
Yeah. Sure this is not a smooth bore?
I was asked that.
I can see the rifling in there.
I was asked that.
It's pretty close.
But it's pretty worn. Because everybody used black powder cartridges back then.
Oh, yeah. And mercuric priming compounds.
Yeah. So, all right. So let's go ahead and get the muzzle, not the muzzle, but the rifling done. So that is the right size brush. Where did I do my oil?
It's right there.
Okay. So again, we don't want to contaminate this stuff. So we'll add a little bit of oil.
proper that you're brushing it through the breech, so you're maintaining the good rifling that's left in there.
Well, I didn't want to ding up the end either. Ruin that beautiful crown. I actually put that in before I did this, because it was pretty deep.
Well, you come out and
Yeah.
keep this, probably
Okay,
like
one more time, then we're done.
that happening.
Well, as long as you're Johnny on the spot when you have
Okay,
those
I think
old
that's
guns,
probably good enough.
you can soak the patch in white vinegar, brush it with that, but you want to clean up afterwards.
Ricky, it's got rifling.
I know.
Not much, but
There's
it's
a
got
hint.
rifling. Okay. All right. So the next thing we want to do is oil that outside. I use my fingers, bud.
Yep, that's how we.
I use my fingers. So I would put it on my fingers.
Usually what I do is,
Yep.
it's like patty cake. Oh, look at that.
Look at that, Michael says.
He does the same thing with varnish and
Isn't that pretty?
everything.
It's the same way I do the shotguns. I spray the stuff on my hands
Isn't that
when
pretty?
I'm doing a customer's gun. Even though it's just going in a box to be shipped back, by hand I wipe it all over the.
Well, it can also get you close to the steel. It get you close. You get to look at it,
Yes.
you know, and you get to see what you created. Isn't that pretty? Well, we don't have to wipe it off. Once we get the receiver, I almost dropped it. Receiver done. Isn't that pretty?
Yeah.
What a
Pretty nice.
What a difference.
Isn't that pretty?
Oh my God.
Talking about the really offset
roll
the
mark.
roll mark.
Yeah. Amazing.
He did use that ham and egger thing and just destroy it all when he would polish it
What's that?
on the lettering.
Ham and egger.
You know, a lot of times they almost all the lettering's gone.
Oh yeah. Well, again,
But you have to be
know
careful.
where-
there are some high-end shops. And not to say I'm not a high-end shop, but there are some really high-end shops that actually have all the stamps.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they'll redo the roll marking
marking.
one stamp at a time.
Turnbull's shop, he's got most all that stuff.
There's a couple really good shops.
And the guys that don't usually have a guy that's an engraver that can do that by hand.
Okay, what's the
And
best way
it'll
to
look
get inside?
proper.
Just like you're doing with your fingers. We can use this. We can use this.
Don't get your
if we
finger
have to.
stuck in that barrel all
That's
night.
what I was worried about.
But one of the things about these high-end shops is they're not there for the working guy.
No,
They're,
for the
they're,
high-end guys.
they're fine. They do good work. They're not to disparage, but they're not there for the working guy. They're there for very and they don't. The high-end guys generally, typically, bring them back to new condition.
Yeah.
Okay, and which is fine.
That's what their clients want.
Yeah, if that's what their clients want, that's fine.
Because usually what I'll do after I've done something on one of ours is I soak it really heavy. Then tomorrow morning, so I wipe it off.
Yep, which is all fine. So if you want, you can. So the rounded part goes on the bottom. If you want, you can just put that
Yeah.
together and show it to
You
them.
don't have to worry too much with this one, Mike, because your customer, he's not gonna notice.
You know, your
He's
customer's
standing right next to you.
going to be fine. So you can see what the whole thing looks like together.
It's gonna be a nice looking little gun.
Yeah.
They're the cutest little rifle.
They are.
They really are.
Just lay it down.
I've got one at home, but the one I have is not a falling block. It's a side lever gun. It's got side lever on it. It's a really rare gun. It's hard.
That's the one you got in Newberry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna do something with that. That one's got a really trashy bore. I'm thinking just about making a new barrel for it, so I can use it.
So, I forget who asked me. Somebody wants an octagon barrel for an older gun that's, the barrel's really
Well-
bad.
Most any gunsmith is capable of turning a round barrel into an octagon.
I mean, other than milling it, I don't know the way it was done, what, you know.
Well, in the old days,
file
that's
it.
why he's Rick.
Well, yeah, you can do it with a file, but
That's why he's Rick.
Not with a file. Holy cow.
it doesn't take that long.
All right.
So-
So
when you
So you
start-
would just mill it?
Yeah, you gotta be careful knowing because it's gonna wanna bounce.
Yes.
You use the end of an end mill, it's not good. If you use the side of an end mill, it's not good because it pushes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best thing to do is set up, if you
But I
got an arbor,
figured off
just,
centers and a couple of jacks.
if you got an arbor, put 2 cutters on there, side cutting
Oh,
mills with a spacer in there to what you want.
yeah.
Not quite to finished dimension. That way you can do it in a couple of passes. That keeps it from stringing off.
Yep.
It should have worn my camera
Okay, quietness. All right, so we've got this thing all blued up. I'll show you some close-ups here at the end of the video, so don't go away. This came out stunning. This came out beautiful. This was a little bit different kind of video for me. We're gonna try to do more of this in the future. If you guys enjoyed this kind of video where I have some of the experts brought in, some other folks, let me know. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, let me know. Make comments if you want. Even if you didn't like it, make comments. Because I'd like to do more of this. I'd like to do some discussions in the round moving forward where I bring in some very smart people and we talk about guns, firearms, design. So again, if you like this, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we like growing this channel. So guys, thank you for being here. I love you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.
Bing boom.
Yep. Yep.
Now you're gonna be a movie star.
Which one of us is the guy that's not an expert?
Right, I wonder, now I know how you feel.